What's up, everybody? Just want to do a quick UFC 287 recap. Unfortunately and embarrassingly, I did very bad. I got like 4 fights right on the whole card. I went 1-5 on the main card. So, yeah, man, I just picked the wrong underdogs. I was really heavy on Gerald Meerschaert. I thought maybe too much too soon for Joe Pyfer. I thought he might be able to submit him or at least get him to the ground and ride him out for 2 rounds if it got past the first round, but it didn't because Joe Pyfer hits like a Mack truck and Gerald Meerschaert's chin cannot hold up, so I got that one wrong. Funny enough, though, I got the first fight of the night right, a women's fight, which I'm pretty bad with typically. I picked Sam Hughes over Jacqueline Amarim. Sam Hughes plus 200 underdog. Has a ton of fights in UFC. This is Jacqueline's first fight. I figured if it goes past the first round, Sam Hughes will be able to grind it out. That's pretty much what happened. So, didn't work out for me. Then Steve Garcia, another one of the underdogs that hit. I thought if he got out the first round, Shah Yulan would be able to take over with the grappling. Steve Garcia got to the second round and still got the victory. So, with the KO. So that's something interesting that was added. And then prelim main event, I thought Chris Curtis, slight underdog, but I thought he was, I knew this was going to be a close fight, but I thought it was a solid play. Kelvin Gastelum, somewhat controversially, ended up getting the victory. In the first round, Chris, he rocked him right away with the 1-2 whenever Kelvin was stepping in. Kelvin looked really good. He was bouncing in and out, very light on his feet. He looked like he returned to form. Kelvin was circling, popping some jabs. He landed a 1-2 and some combos, but Chris kept that high guard. He didn't take too many clean shots. And then Chris would land a jab. He would rip the body like he does. And then Kelvin would land a leg kick and a couple 1-2s in a straight. I thought it was close, but I thought Kelvin won the first round. But that's okay because Chris kind of takes the first round off. Not takes it off, but uses it to kind of download data. Happened with Buckley and happened with Phil Hawes. But then the second round, Chris was landing some nice counter hooks off Kelvin's leg kick. But then there was an inadvertent clash of heads, and I didn't really even see it when it happened. And I went back, and I could still barely see it. And then Chris said he got knocked out. He fell to the ground, and then Kelvin got around him, around his back. He just landed a bunch of ground and pound. So that weighed heavy in the judges' minds. They did not stop the fight. So, yeah, the judges definitely scored that for Kelvin. And then Kelvin landed some more overhands whenever they got back to their feet. But Chris was landing some uppercuts to the body and to the head, which is really nice. He was cracking Kelvin, but we all know Kelvin has a hell of a chin. And then Kelvin was landing some more jabs, but then Chris was landing an uppercut and a hook at the end there. And it was a close round, pretty close. And take out that headbutt, who knows what happens. I'm not saying Chris definitely would have won it, but, judges basically counted that as a knockdown plus ground and pound, like a near finishing sequence. So it's a tough one. Then the third, I thought Chris got the third. He was landing some jabs, but then Kelvin landed some overhand counters, and Kelvin landed a nice big counter hook off of Chris's uppercut. But then Chris was cutting off the cage. He landed some right hooks. And then Kelvin went to the clinch a couple times because he was taking some shots. But then Chris landed some uppercuts at the end. He stopped at the takedown attempt from Kelvin. So, whatever, man. Tough pill to swallow. But I thought it was a hell of a fight. Fight of the night. Definitely deserved it. In my opinion, they should have had that as the first fight of the night and had Rojas Jr. as the prelim main event. But what do I know? But hell of a fight. Both guys look great. Chris going to be perennial top 15 guy. Might work his way to the top 10. And Kelvin, I don't know if he moves on too much higher up the ranks, but because it was pretty close with Curtis, like razor close. So I don't know. Kelvin said he wants Adesanya again. He wants to work his way up. We'll see, man. But Kelvin's only lost to the best. So then first fight on the main card, Raul Rosas Jr. and Christian Rodriguez at 135. I went with Rojas Jr. despite my better judgment. And Rodriguez missed weight, so I thought that kind of fed into the storyline. Young 18-year-old fighter fighting a guy with more experience, and that missed weight. So I thought it'd be a big story. Like Rojas came over all these obstacles, first fight on a pay-per-view, but it didn't go that way, man. Christian Rodriguez, he out-grappled him in the second and the third. First round, Raul, he got that clinch immediately, and they both kind of battle against the fence, but Raul gets a single, then goes to the front head, tries to go, fakes a choke, but he gets reversed, but then he stands up and he gets around his back, and he's able to get to a backpack and has a rear naked choke attempt at the end of the first. But you could tell Rodriguez was scrambling pretty well, but Rojas was fresh, so he was able to win those scrambles. He was able to like chain wrestle a little bit. But then in the second round, Raul just kept like shooting a blast double or shooting a naked single leg attempt. And then he got pancaked, and he gets up with the wizard position, but he ducks under, and he gets around the back, and he gets a mat return. But then Rodriguez was able to sit out, and he kind of has his hands on the mat, kind of like a crab position. He steps over him, and then he's able to take Raul's back, gets the body triangle on the rear naked choke attempts, lands some ground and pound. And then in the third round, Raul was shooting a single from way far away, like multiple of them, and he did not put any striking together. It got easily stuffed. And then he ate some counter hooks on the feet, shoots again way too far away, and he gives up his back. It's put in a figure four. Each ground and pound, naked choke attempt, all that. So, yeah, Raul just has nothing on the feet. He didn't set any of his shots up. In the first round, he's really fresh. He's able to out-scramble. He's able to chain wrestle. That's why he got that dominant position for majority of round one. But the second and the third round, he just shoots from too far away, and Rodriguez caught on to it. So, tough one. I thought from the beginning, I don't think an 18-year-old belongs in the UFC. He clearly doesn't belong in the UFC. He should go to like just LFA, like a feeder organization, win the title, then come over, get 4 or 5 fights of experience. But, he's definitely got potential. But, I mean, you want to be 18 years old in the 135-pound weight class, bantamweight, the toughest division, in my opinion. Just not going to work out. But, Rodriguez missed weight, and I think it puts a stain on it. Nobody talked about him missing weight, but he did miss weight, whether you like it or not. And there's an asterisk next to that win, and it's not like as big of a victory as it should have been, man. Like, Rodriguez would have got he did get a lot of attention for it, but he still missed weight. So that sucks, and that's annoying. I'm not saying it would have changed anything, but you got to make weight, man. But anyway, second fight on the main card, Santiago Ponzinibbio and Kevin Holland at 170. I'm going with Kevin Holland. Thank God Kevin Holland got it done. I know Ponzinibbio has power, fight-ending power, but Kevin was able to stay out of that danger, and Kevin cracks pretty hard. Alex Morono was dropping Ponzi last fight, and I thought if Kevin could land a good shot on him, he'd probably knock him out. That's what happened. First round, Ponzi landed some type of leg kicks, but Kevin was able to rock him with the jab. Then he backs out of the hooks. Then he lands a step-in uppercut, but Ponzi was landing some hooks on the inside. Has a nice double jab and a cross. But then Holland started getting the leg kicks going. And then Ponzi just kind of catches Kevin and he drops him, catches Kevin's kick, but then Kevin drops him with a back fist. So that was pretty wild. And then in the second round, Ponzinibbio more leg kicks, but then Kevin lands some jabs, then a leg kick, and then he was going leg kick to a lead hook combo. Then he rocked him with a jab and then a cross, and he stuffs the clinch attempt, gets out of there, keeps circling, and then Ponzi lands some counter hooks in the pocket. Nothing crazy. And then in the third round, Ponzinibbio's landing some more leg kicks. And then Holland jabs, circles around the outside. Then Ponzi landed some counter hooks. But then Holland catches his leg. His kick lands a right cross. And then a lead left hook. Drops him with that. And then gets around and just punches him a couple times. And got the finish, man. Very good showing from Kevin Holland. He took his time. Didn't get into a slugfest with them. He didn't have to take him down, so I don't know if he would have wrestled or not. But that's what worried me. I don't know if Kevin was gonna, if he was like gonna be anti-wrestling, or not, like just disagree to go to wrestling. But he got it done. Ponzinibbio is a bit chinny. That's why I picked Kevin. But still a tough veteran to get a win over. Kevin needed a nice win here, so he got that. And he's calling out Michael Chiesa. I don't hate that fight, dude. Like, Chiesa hasn't fought in a while. I think it'd be a good test for Kevin's grappling abilities. Chiesa is a pretty dominant grappler, but, if Kevin can at least defend enough to keep it on the feet, I think that'd be interesting. So, but good win for him. Then, feature fight of the night. I was really anticipating this one. Rob Font and Adrian Yanez at 135. This was a big test for Yanez. And, yeah, man, I knew Font was an underdog, but and Yanez was a little pricey at minus 200. I just thought Yanez would get it done, man. I know Rob Font, ton of experience. Rob Font is a beast, has great skills, but he looked pretty chinny in his last couple fights. Aldo and Marlon Vera dropped him relatively easily, it looked like anyway. So I thought I just thought Yanez would be able to crack him with a good shot, and he did. But Font's chin held up for the most part. First round, Yanez presses with some jabs. He looks to counter Font's jab, but then Font was landing some counter hooks, and then he rocked him with it, and then he landed a 1-2 right down the middle, which was perfect, and that kind of set it off. Yanez just like couldn't regain from that moment. But then they kind of both land some hooks in the pocket. But then Font lands a double jab cross, and then he dips with the right hook counter to Yanez's uppercut, and then gets the knockout. So it happened really fast. It's kind of hard for me to keep track of everything, but yeah, man. I mean, Font has a nasty jab, and Yanez decided to fight him in the pocket, which bad move. And I thought in the end, like Yanez like loses first round, so I thought Yanez was gonna lose his first round, but I didn't think Yanez would. I really didn't think Rough Font would knock him out because we haven't seen Rough Font knock somebody out in a while, like he did knock Cody Garbrandt out. So he knocked Marlon Moraes out, but who hasn't, But yeah, man. Just too much too soon looking back on it. Yanez was like 15 or something, and Rob Font was number 6. But Font was coming off a year layoff, but he needed that time to recover. And Rob Font staked his claim. He's like could be the elite gatekeeper at bantamweight. Yanez, he's got skills. He hurt Font a couple times in that fight. They both hurt each other, but too much too soon in my opinion. He just needs to work his way up the rankings slowly. I'm going to take a look at the rankings here. Yanez for his fight. So Yanez was number 12. He could fight Umar Nurmagomedov. It's not going to happen. Yeah, I don't know. I think Yanez should fight Jonathan Martinez. I think that's a perfect fight. So Martinez doesn't hit super hard, but a decent grappler. I think that'd be a good test for both of them. And Rob Font can do whatever the hell he wants, as far as I'm concerned. Then the co-main of the night, Jorge Masvidal and take on Gilbert Burns at 170. This was my most anticipated matchup of the night. I thought it was going to be fireworks. It wasn't, but it's understandable. In retrospect, respectfully, Jorge is just past it. He's washed. He was too slow. He admitted so himself. But, he went out there, gave it an effort. He just never exploded. Like, I thought he had moments in the Covington fight, but he just really didn't have any moments here. He defended submission attempts decently, but just couldn't get it going. But Gilbert's on kind of a roll now, so, is what it is. I bet on Jorge, plus 380. I thought he could catch him with a big shot, and the way he was talking, he sounded motivated. He was in Miami, and I just went too much off of emotion with that pick, man. I mean, Gilbert Burns in hindsight, that's the pick. I just didn't like the line, but it is what it is. First round, Jorge looked pretty good, but he was very conservative. He was like trying to eke out the first round, and it didn't work out for him. He was landing a lot of leg kicks, but then Gilbert kind of landed some counter crosses. Then Gilbert landed a right hook off of George's jump knee, but then George landed a 1-2 and a leg kick. But then Gilbert landed a counter hook, but then George blitzed him, but Burns was able to block most of it and get out of the way. And then Masvidal blitzes. But then Burns gets the body lock and then a ground and pound right at the end there, like 10 seconds left, I think. And, you can just tell, like, Jorge just did not defend the takedowns well. Like, I thought he did a better job in the Covington fight defending them. So, this is a tough one. Second round, Burns drops him real quick with the uppercut. And then he gets the double leg off the fence right into full guard, lands some ground and pound. And then Jorge tried to Granby, but he can't get out of it. And he wasn't, like, constantly moving, like trying to Granby, trying to stand up. He was just kind of doing one move and getting brought back down. Just looked sluggish, But then George gets out of the body lock, and then he rushes with some overhands, but then he misses. So he had like one explosion toward the end of the second round. And then in the third round, Jorge lands some leg kicks, but then Burns lands some lead hooks and some 1-2s. And then Jorge lands some 1-2s, and then he rushes with his overhands again, but they're just a little too short, and Burns can see him coming pretty far away. And then Burns rocks him with the uppercut, and then a flurry, and then he gets the body lock and just kind of takes his back. So, a little disappointing. Jorge kind of went for it at the end there, but he just waited too long, man. He just seemed like his reaction time was slower. So, but he's had a great career. He's been fighting for like 20-something years. So, Not a great victory, not a great fight, but Burns got the job done. Jorge's always dangerous. He said he wants to weigh in for Leon versus Colby. I'm cool with that, I guess. I really think Bilal Muhammad should get the next title shot, merit-wise. So I think Burns and Bilal should fight. Could seem like they're making Colby and Leon. So Burns and Bilal, I think it's a perfect #1 contender match. Bilal might need like a little bit more spice on his name to sell pay-per-views. But then if Burns beats up-and-coming Bilal Muhammad, like, you could say he deserves a title shot. So that's what I like. And, Jorge's retired, and thank you for your services. I will never forget the Ben Askren knockout. I thought you literally murdered Ben Askren, so thank you. The main event, Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira, Poatan at 185 pounds, men's middleweight for the strap, the rematch. Izzy got his belt back, man. I was all on Alex Pereira. He was a slight underdog, and he won the last fight. And we just saw this with Usman and Edwards. And Usman was actually like a big favorite, even though he lost the last fight. And I was like, I'm not falling for that one again. But Israel Adesanya is special, man. I wasn't expecting it, but it's fucking awesome. And I'm an Izzy fan again, man. In the first round, they both kind of just land leg kicks at range. Alex kind of presses a little more, but then Izzy lands some jabs. Throws out some jabs. Most of them are too short. Not a ton happens. I guess Alex might have landed a couple more leg kicks. I don't really know, man. Nothing really happens, to be honest. But the second round, a lot happened. Alex goes for the body kick and then a 1-2. But then Izzy lands some counter hooks, and he just kind of circles on the outside. But then Izzy kind of has his back to a fence. Alex is pressing, just like at the end of the first fight. But he's looking for some counter hooks. But then Alex wobbles him with a nasty leg kick, and then starts ripping some body shots on the fence. Then he lands a flurry. He's going left and right hooks like he was last fight. But then Izzy's kind of rolling with the punches. And then he lands a counter overhand right. Lands 2 of them whenever Pierre is loading up. And just knocks him out cold, man. Then he gets on the ground. Follow-up hammer fist. Didn't need it, dude. I just always assume Alex Pereira had a good chin, but apparently he has a glass chin, man. Like one shot, he wasn't even wobbled, dude. He just went down pretty much. I mean, it was like halfway, but he got hurt very bad. And Izzy doesn't knock a ton of people out, or maybe it's just we forget Izzy has power. Who knows, dude? But he laid that guy out cold. And yeah, dude, just like everybody else, whenever he had him up against the fence, we're like, oh no, this is it. And it's like, oh, Alex is going to get done even earlier this time. But, Izzy knew that was going to happen. He was kind of playing rope-a-dope. Took a couple punches, waited for his counter. Alex opened up a little too much. Didn't respect Izzy on the fence. Got knocked out, man. So, yeah. If Izzy fights like this every time, I'm going to be back on board. It's just like the Jared Cannonier fight was very boring. Martin Vettori fight, pretty boring. Just not going for finishes like he used to, like when he got finished Whitaker, and then that crazy-ass Kelvin Gastelum fight when he just went to war with them. So maybe this will be a return to form for Izzy. Maybe he'll start trying to knock people out again. But, it's a great fight, man. First fight was awesome. This fight was awesome for as long as it lasted. Alex Pereira, his run was incredible. 3 UFC wins, then he wins the title. Can't take that away from him, regardless if he wins the belt back or not. If he goes up 205 and wins a belt, who knows? Alex Pereira, that's going to be a little slice at UFC history, so it's pretty cool. And then Izzy, he's cleared out the division pretty much. They're talking about Dricus du Plessis or maybe Sean Strickland. I would like to see the du Plessis fight. I think du Plessis should fight Sean Strickland for a #1 contendership, even though that would get rid of a contender. But I think that would be a good fight, because you don't want anybody to fight Robert Whitaker, any potential contenders. So, yeah, Dricus du Plessis is #6, Strickland's #7, and Derek Brunson's retired. And then maybe Roman Dolidze, if he can get back on track, he can win. But I think him and Sean might be teammates, so maybe do Dricus and Marvin Vettori. I think that would be a good test. Or Dricus and Jared Cannonier. But sky's the limit for either guy. Izzy's going to go at 205 eventually. I really hope Alex goes to 205, because this weight cut just look like they're killing him, and I think his chin will be better. But we'll see, man. Great fight card. my only complaint, they should have switched Gaslow and Curtis with the Rojas Jr. Rodriguez fight, and I thought that card would have been like a 10 out of 10. But all in all, great card. Next weekend, we got Max Holloway and Arnold Allen at featherweight for the #1 contender spot. If Holloway wins, he's not going to get another shot at Volkanovski. But if Yair Rodriguez wins, he might get a shot at him. But if Volk wins, well, actually, yeah. But no matter who wins, if Arnold Allen beats Max Holloway, he'll get a title shot next. So, very exciting. Thanks, guys. I'm going to do my research this week, and I'm going to get back on track. And I'm sick of losing, so I want to win some money. Thanks, guys.